Hmm. Welcome back to Super Sentai Review, episode 231. We're reviewing episodes 39-40 of Abaranger and the Abaranger vs. Hurricaneger movie. Let's discuss the movie soon. Let's talk about let's talk about these two episodes, 39-40. These two episodes are the conclusion to the Armor of Darkness Returns arc. Yes, I say returns, and I'll get to the conclusion of it. So basically, by the way, the monster debuted in the previous episode 38. Yeah, it's destroyed in this episode. So, of course, they had discovered Asuka was definitely, well, the host of the Armor of Darkness. So they tried to get him to come out of it. He wants to get away, and of course, at that point, Mahio now remembers, all remembers just magically come back because sees Asuka in the Armor of Darkness outfit. So she remembers she was Genie at one point. So she tries to confront Asuka, but she ends up basically slicing her, getting her cut on the wrist, even slicing up the engagement bracelet he gave her prior to this event series. I'm sure Asuka probably didn't mean to do it per se, but if everybody probably saw it as maybe like just a way to possibly kill him and relieve him of the Armor of Darkness. So she agrees to team up with Alba Killer to take care of this. Meanwhile, though, Regal proceeds to send out a monster who is a copy of the one who debuted in episode 31. Why in the world brought this Power Monster back? Well, I'm sure Toei's probably like, hey, we have this monster laying around. Can we use it for this episode? Because we don't have monster for this episode. I guess the production is like, sure. That's probably what happened. I'm not really sure. So, it is episode 40, by the way. So the monsters destroy. Every returning flower gets turned magically back normal. At the whole stuff with Emmy, basically her force moved to Thailand. It's just quickly resolved, and Emmy's parents proceed to go to Thailand without her, though she has to stay there for Curry. And of course, she stays there at the den of Curry. It's like, what was the point of this subplot? Nothing really. Aside from that, I could debut like a form, like a wannabe Alba Pink form, because you have Alba Pink smelly. Despite the fact technically there was only 5 suits made, no 6 suit, surprisingly. Yeah, the suit itself would actually never be seen again for the rest of this series. It would have popped into another series. I'll get to that later. So that's how quickly, and of course, embassies stay there. And of course, this is when also Mahio sees the mysterious girl. Everyone else sees her. So, probably the killer ghost monster 2 pops up episode 40. And this episode finally, Asuka is free of the Armor of Darkness form. After we first show up in episode 35, here 5 episodes later, the arc is resolved quite nicely. Like, yeah, Alba Killer takes the shell that makes Armor of Darkness, and apparently he loves it. And he's in it for like 5 minutes, and then the thing disintegrates. But it's the end of the Armor of Darkness. Yeah, and kind of the one thing Asuka was doing while he was wearing the Armor of Darkness, he was trying to give her all the power of the damn thing. He was basically make it useless because it's way too powerful. So it's like, okay, so he's been cured. He gets his down harmonica back, which basically is the key to his morpher. He morphs once again and becomes a black. And it seems like, though, at the end of this episode 40, it's kind of back to the status quo-ish. Well, Mahio becomes Genie again in order to get him restored. But it just seems like a return to status quo. What do you mean by that? Well, Mahio is back being Genie again. Asuka's back being Alba Black. And it's basically like everything. Like, he's back, but it's back to status quo. Yeah. That's the only weakness about this ending of this really interesting story arc is we have to get back to status quo because Asuka came back and had to be gone for like 2 episodes. Believe it or not, he was absent for 2 full episodes before we turn episode 35. Yeah. These were a flashback, a little bit continuation of like the fight that was seen back in episode 32. where he's the one who got Mahio out of the ship and basically put on the shoreline. So he did it. Like, okay, interesting. Aside from that, it's a good story arc overall. And of course, our next episode, what I read, is a prologue. It is basically a lead up into the finale for Abaranger. But I'll discuss another time. Next up, discuss basically for this particular view will be the Abaranger vs. Hurricaneger movie. The placement of this movie is weird, to say the least. So we start out with the Zords from Hurricaneger attacking the city. You're thinking, wait a minute. Hurricanes become supposedly evil and attacking people. Does this plot sound familiar to you? Because it's a very similar thing that they did also in Down Thunder, where instead of using the Zords, they used the Rangers themselves. Because here's kind of the thing: the reason they couldn't use the Zords in the Down Thunder Ninja Storm team up is because at the end of Ninja Storm, the Zords were destroyed. Because that was the thing in Power Rangers. And here's the thing. Here's a question that everybody should know the answer to. Okay. Name one series where in the Sentai they actually destroyed the Zords. The answer is Mega Ranger. 2 of the Zords were destroyed. You think, what about Mega Ranger? Was that destroyed at the end of Mega Ranger? No. It was not. Mega Ranger was in the finale. Unlike in the case of Abaranger, it was destroyed in the third to last episode of the season. And Down Thunder was kind of the same thing too, where at the end of their particular series, their Zord were all destroyed too. Along with their base. Though in the case of Hurricaneger, they did kind of partially adapt this for Ninja Storm, except that in that one, basically, that was due to a collapse. This is what we'll find out and see if I get the finale. If we'll get back to stuff to that. So, oh, and by the way, the whole subplot of Mahio when she went from Genie to Mahio, they partially adapt this plot for the ending of Down Thunder. Believe it or not, yes, they did adapt this. And unlike in Down Thunder, she was actually on the cover as a principal. Here, she wasn't. Her whole thing is she wants to kill Asuka for Sorel's betrayer. And turns out that was actually a fatal lie. Oh, how did she make a genie? Simple. Touching the god that the Evelons worship. Yeah. So the Zords get their Zords attack the city. The Dino Zords come out, basically battle them. All get wounded, and who comes out of them? Why, it's Bakuryū and Windu, who were last seen supposedly killed the end of Hurricaneger. Except it's actually real here that they actually did not die. They fell through a portal somehow, and they end up on Down Earth. How? I don't know. Also, some question you might ask about this team up. Number 1. Do any of the villains have from Windu and Bakuryū come back who are in Hurricaneger? Do the Grunts come back? Nope. Aside from these 2 lovely ladies, do any of the villains come back? Nope. None do. I don't really know why. Now, I've seen the Down Thunder team up with Ninja Storm. That involved like the best of evil stuff. Though in the case of Hurricane, it's about the evil will. What's together was it the whole series? Yeah. So then they're saved by Yosuke, Hurricane Red. And of course also Windu decides to unleash the Infernal King, who turns to be an evil space ninja. Where the heck came from is never really explained here. He somehow went through a portal, went to Down Earth, battled a bunch of people on there, and gets sealed. First of which, this is not really explained here. How the heck did a portal open from Earth to Down Earth? This didn't make much sense to me. Also, one thing this particular team up should have had: the Grunts. Yeah, for some reason, the grunts from either Abaranger or even Hurricaneger are seeing this movie for no reason. I don't know what the reason why they're not here. Eventually, of course, Kabuto Ranger comes in and Hurricane Yellow comes in to save them. And of course, Obito just happens to find out Curry thanks to a map, and she likes eating there. So, yeah, and the reason why Bakuryū and Winiju had the Zords, they stole them. How? Don't know. It's like there's a lot of stuff in this movie that's left completely unexplained. That is one of them. One thing, Hurricaneger is basically they have really good security. I'm thinking, how the heck they steal it? Because they were basically kept in a hangar in where the Hurricaneger is basically the bases. And Obito basically repairs the swords. Yes. In case you're curious though, does she use her computer to repair the Zord that she built? Yes. And the way it's written here is that the Hurricanegers are reluctant to have the Abarangers help out. Which, that seems strange given the fact that they were willing to team up with the Gao Ranger last one. I don't really know the reason for it all. Or why the animosity. Also, the subbers don't refer to as the basically, I should point out that the villain organization of the previous series was the Jakuryū. Here there was the Davu for some reason. Did the subbers of this one not bother to read the subbing for Hurricaneger? Because for some strange reason they changed the name of the organization. By the way, there's no mention of the boss. Like, they did mention the fact that Windu and Bakuryū were in fact to the Seven Spears. They mentioned that. But aside from that, there's not a lot really mentioned about Hurricaneger in this one. Oh, by the way, telling you there's a massive plot hole with this one. I'll get to it. So, eventually they have these Eagle Space in 3 locations. They all split up. So we have Hurricane and Hurricane Blue in one location. By the way, we actually have Abba Yellow with, I think it was Hurricane Yellow 2, along with, I think it was, I'm trying to think who else was with them. I think that was it, just those two. Eventually, of course, they're saved by Nanami. Nanami and the Tusk Ranger, they were part of some secret service. I'm like, wait a minute, didn't you become an idol at the end of the series? Did they forget that? Because them working security doesn't make any sense to me. Because Nanami is a freaking singer. Why is she working undercover at some security in Spain, of all places? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. Also, what the heck would Hurricane Red do before this? I don't really know. It's weird. Also, they do continue the supposed plot thread where Nanami and Ikachu were supposed to have some romantic chemistry with each other. But, yeah. Prepare me disappointed when I get to a particular movie featuring Nanami because, oh boy, I bet people, basically fans of Hurricaneger, were ticked off at Toei for this. Yes, because they really like the relationship, and here's the thing. Nanami does not marry him at all. Nope. She marries some random dude. For no reason. That's alright anyways, but we'll get back to it later. So, they also have really interesting here of like canceling transformation things, but like a charm on their braces. They'll apparently be in the shadow using like basically like unmorphed combat. Like that I thought was really interesting. So they eventually do in fact defeat all of them, and apparently this whole thing he's like absorbing down guts. By the way, the Abalons are barely they don't play a role in this movie at all. Where he just shows up at their headquarters, and Abakar, and of course like, oh, and of course Bakuryū's like, you make against Avalon General. Is like, I don't remember making that promise to you. I'm like, did we not have a conversation? Did we not have a conversation before this? So, they agreed to become the Evil Ninja subordinates. Yes. So then, of course, we have the two Avalon makers, Alba Killer. We have basically just these 5 people. Regal is not here because she's Raiju. For some unknown reason, she's Raiju, despite the fact at the time this was supposed to take place, she is Regal. I don't really know. I mean, you could say this is... The placement of Abaranger is... Like, you could say it's, probably not long after... Well... Alba Killer became the leader of the group. But Genie's there. Yeah, the Cotton News one was weird. So, they have this really cool moment when he goes giant size, and we have it where the Shinobi Zords are transported, like all 5 of them are transported via the Brontosaurus, and of course everyone comes in and forms their Megazords. Alba Killer comes in with his own mech. They practically fight like them, and of course the Rangers, their Zord gets broken up, and then they're saved by Revolving Mammoth. Which, where the heck have you been? And then who summons it? Hurricaneger. Now this is a massive plot hole related to this guy. You wanna know why? He fucking died! In the previous series. Yes, he died killing the 7th spear. How is he alive here? Oh, I'm basically I'm needed. No, that's not an exclamation. You died. You blew yourself up with him. Actually, what I said was more like the 6th spear. Yeah, he's like here very briefly for a good cameo. And bye-bye. Oh, by the way, how they find out about the evil ninja, like his backstory? Why, Anobu's father shows up. First is hamster form, which I thought that was weird. Why would he show up as handsome? Why can't he show up normally? Because, by the way, in the Power Rangers equivalents, he never became a hamster again in that one. Nope, he never did. Also, Oda has this rule wink at the audience, like, hey, this is special. Of course I knew this would happen. Yeah, where the dinosaur spits out one of the balls and creates like a combo Zord and defeats the monster that way. And instead of having, a celebration party, we just basically have them just a little celebrating via the credits. And like, where do the girls go to? By the way, Genie, there's been a comedy with her. She survives an explosion with black smoke on her face, which that is probably there to basically have a nod to Hurricaneger's comedy. Which I like the comedy for that one. And their fate is they're being chased by a worm from a very cheap-looking worm from Dune. Yes. I do like the team-up aspect of this movie, but man, there's massive plot holes in this movie. I mean, I like a lot of the previous team-ups that I reviewed so far, but man, this one was confusing. And by the way, Hurricaneger, he does show up again after this in an episode of Ninja Hunter. Yes, believe it or not, he shows up. How the heck is he there? I don't know. It is by far one of the strangest things here. Also, in appearances, the Hurricanes will next show up in Gokaiger in a 2-part team-up to take on basically juniors from their series. I'll discuss more about that when I finish the Abaranger, because that's quite interesting to talk about that one. Now, it's like there's some stuff here in this movie, like the Ebelons. I think that their involvement in this movie is really weak. Like, we see their headquarters briefly, like one scene. Oh, by the way, do we have it where we have a villain from the series going to the main villain's headquarters in the town they're team up? Yes, Lothar went to visit Mesogog as Island Fortress. Like, that's interesting. Yeah, in case you're curious though, did Lothar's counterpart ever come here? No, because he was freaking dead. Yeah. But not really much else to say about this. These, like, the episodes are good, but has a weak ending. The movie itself basically is good, but plot holes. There's, like, several. Like, where did the portal came from? Like, the only thing I do probably explain here is how Bakuryū and Winju just the explosion opened up randomly a portal to Dino Earth of all places. And they will return in the 10th anniversary special. We'll discuss that soon. But yeah, that's pretty much a particular view. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do not hit the dislike button. Next time, Comic Corner, and next time, I was going to do Case Goes for last though. Why don't I just do Remonster next? Okay? Next video. Bye.